Yo, 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 what is up? Again, it's Corey, Jag, and Marco back with another season of the Dodcast, not just an episode. As you can see over that direction, Season 5, Episode 1. Who would have thought we'd make it to Season 5? I did not. But here we are, alas. It's been a little while since I did the last episode. I think it was after the semifinals of everything and getting into the finals, and then I've been busy. And here I am, just before the first week of the season. Actually, kind of in progress right now. We do have one match that we can go over, but we're not gonna. We'll wait until next week. We'll do it all together. I tried to make a little new format for this season, at least when I'm not at my own house, because mainly I didn't have all the settings already set up, so I was able to just start from scratch. Brand new. So yeah, right off the bat, we've got, let's just take a gander at how many teams exactly we have here. Where did my window go? There it is. So, 16 teams we've got for this season. We've got ourselves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in gold. We've got ourselves 10 in silver. And you know silver will be jam-packed to the tits with competition as always. To go over what we missed from last season, the silver finals was 3H versus Spicy Butthole in a best of 3. In that game, 3H did win 2-0 in the series. Both games were ridiculously close. I did not get to cast that game. I have the scores here. Okay, so there was Railroad 2. 3H won by 2 points over Spicy. It was a absolutely fucking crazy game. Both the games were really, really close. Anzio's score might not reflect that quite as much as a 2-point game, but it was within a cap, I can tell you that. Yeah, it was within a cap, a full cap. So just to kind of quickly go over this, because I'm not spending too much time on this. I took too long to get to this episode, so I'm not going to go over it the way I normally would, but I can tell you that on Railroad 2, Dillard with 36 on Axis, and what did he have on Allies? 37. So a nice 73 bomb there for Luke. Very, very big performance in the finals. I do believe historically he's been good in all the finals he's played. On the 3H side, on Axis, looks like Johnny had 28. Matt had 27. Austin had 26. I'm not sure who's going to end up being the top guy there. Oh, it looks like Matt Modgers with 29 on Allies as well, leading the way for his team with 56 there across the board. A 2-point win. Generally speaking, everybody performed well. Obviously, on a railroad, your trained players are going to have lower scores than everybody else, but if you just remove that from the equation, the lowest frag total, I think, is 23 on that half, and on this half it is 21. So no underperformances there. And then on Anzio, which was the second match, 3H won 579 to 531. This is a double cap map, so that's 60-point caps. They won by 48. And I can tell you, Spicy was pushing right up to the bitter end of this game. So in the first half, taking a look, Austin is 30 and 15 for 3H. And Stealth is 30 and 18 for Spicy. Sniper battle, really just vintage Anzio sniping right there. Both of them putting up big performances. Stealth top fragged on his allied side as well for 57 in total. Austin ended up, let's see, so he had 30 and he had 21, I believe, for 51. I don't believe anybody else beat that. Maybe CK? Nope, CK definitely didn't beat it, so... Johnny? What about Johnny? 26 there. Nope. Yeah, looks like it was Austin. From what I can tell, just looking one final time. Oh, wait a second. Matt tied him. Matt also had 51. Overall MVP, I mean, Austin's performance in that game certainly helped seal the deal for 3H in the series. Spicy looked great on Anzio, both in their previous game and in this game. I think Anzio for them went from a map that it was kind of like whatever if they played it to a map that is very much a strength for them, and teams are going to have to be prepared to maybe ban that out against them come playoff time this season. 3H was able to pull it off by the skin of their dicks and win the Season 4 KTP Silver Championship. Really, it was a crazy final. It didn't make it to a third map, but it was about as close as you can get without it then going to a third map and also being like a single cap game. So, good season of both. If you could see a rematch of that this season in the silver finals, 3H a little bit different looking now. No CK, no Modgers. You got Steve Heisey over there. And who was the other new player? Ian? Oh, yes. Well, Ian Galasso's on the team now. I don't know how much he's going to be playing necessarily because I know he can't really be super active, but that is another new addition to the roster. So I think it's mainly is Steve taking over for CK, and then somebody's going to have to heavy instead of Matt. Seems to be the case, and the Bear will be starting now. That's the other thing to fill it out. And for Spicy, I mean, they're the same team that's been trucking along, beating 90% of the teams they face for the last few seasons, and now they will be just that much more hungry. So that does not bode well for the rest of the Silver Division. Now they're coming out with even more to prove. And in the Gold Finals, where are the Gold Finals? There they are. Okay. So of course, NSA was your Gold Season 4 champions. There was no doubt about it that heading into the season. Icy Hot definitely stood the best chance to be able to beat them in a potential best of 3, but man, NSA just looks so good in this game. As always, they have been rock solid from start to finish in Season 4. On Harrington, NSA wins 339 to 225. That is historically NSA T3. Any iteration of this team, they're insane on Harrington. I really wish Thunder had gotten to play them on Harrington just to see what it was like, honestly. That's one of the few maps we didn't get to play. Well, actually, let's see. We played on Railyard, Railroad 2 a bunch, Lennon a bunch, Anzio a bunch, Armory I think we played on. Didn't get to do Shamil, didn't get to do Thunder, which they're also really, really good at. So Thunder and Harrington and Shamil, all maps that I would have liked to have gotten to play these guys on. But just taking a look at who did what on Harrington, of course, Vertex, Casey had 42, Justin had 33, and Jesse had 30. Again, I don't want to get too in-depth. I've already gotten more in-depth than I planned on for this. And then on NSA for their allied side here in this half, 39 for PDX. Brino was just a stud all season, far and beyond the best player in the league, in the game, throughout all of Season 4. Taylor also had 32 on the bar, and Leo with 30. And then on to the other half. Where's PDX at? He had 42. So he managed to break 80 again. I feel like that was every week for him. Debo also had 31 on the Stas, and then Leo 29. And on the Allied side for Icy Hot, 38 on Casey, another guy who has just been at the top of the game. Everybody will miss getting to watch him this season since he's not going to be active, but he had 80 kills of his own. And then also Jesse with 27 and William and Tony with 26 apiece, Justin just behind them on 25. They were all like clustered together there. So that was a 114-point win for NSA. Actually, if I recall correctly, let's see, NSA wins their allied half. So that's right, NSA won their allied side by only about 110, 113. So it looked doable for ICOT heading into their allied side, but NSA did what they do best. They defended against the full caps, particularly on Axis side Harrington, unlike any other. And it seemed like every time Icy Hot got the ball rolling on a full cap, even when they got the full caps, NSA was immediately applying pressure to them again. So just no way to get things going with the momentum to bring it all the way back. Because, I mean, NSA is just fundamentally sound as it gets from a team play standpoint and individually skill-wise. So then on Railroad 2, NSA 230 to 29. This time it was kind of more of like a victory lap for NSA at a certain point. They kind of ran away with this one a little bit more. 79 to 3, they won on their allied side. Axis side 151 to 26. I don't remember how the end of the Axis half went, but so first half for NSA on their allied side, Leo always been good with the Garand on this map, 34, and then 26 apiece for Milo and Nick. And on the Icy Hot side for their Axis, Jesse with 32, Mitch with 29, as in Bees, of course, and Vertex with 28. As you can see, Jesse very strong across all the halves in this series. He also had 27 on his allied side. Bees had 29, and Justin and Sick both had 23. For NSA's Axis side, it was 36 on PDX, coming out and dropping some more bombs with the car. 33 on Nick, and 27, it looks like, on Debo is the next best. Yeah, with the Unter. So, obviously, NSA with just a wire-to-wire crazy season. There was no way anybody was going to beat them. They were just too good. They're too good on every map, and they were too good at every position. It would be tough to find a scenario where anybody stood a real chance against them on any of the maps that get played. And a few in particular, I don't see how anybody could beat them. Like, just even going back and picking, if you could handpick teams and players out from recent KTP seasons, it would be really, really tough to put together a team to beat them on. Certainly Harrington. I would also say Thunder at bare minimum, and Lennon. I think that team up against just about anybody else you can think of since, going back since this league started, handpicking out the best players of each season, I don't know that you could match up better against a team like that. They're just too stacked. They were very, very good at everything and at playing together, which is really reigns supreme above and beyond just individual skill. You can put together an all-star team all you want. Just look at Les Elephants. Back in 2005, the Elephants super team that was put together, basically an all-star team of the best players in DoD that weren't already locked down with Check 6 and complexity, and that Elephants team just never quite could mesh and get that team chemistry down. This team, NSA, meshed right from the start. Obviously, a little bit different story. They weren't just a team that was put together like that. They obviously built from what was T3 in Season 1 winning the championship. Then they kind of added some pieces, lost some pieces, like Evans stopped playing, Bud wasn't as active, Booten came in, and then that was in Season 2, Booten came in. Season 3, obviously, you saw the addition of No Name, and who else got added to the team that season? Somebody else joined the team. Was it Milo? No, Milo was on Lads. I don't have the, if this were my computer, I could just go look really, really fast at who it was, but I don't have that right next to me. But this team built up from Season 1. Well, Taylor joined the team as well. That's right, Taylor and No Name. In my head, Taylor was on the team from the start for some reason, but he wasn't. Season 3 is when he joined Taylor and No Name. And then in Season 4, obviously, adding Milo and Debo. You have Debo on a third rifle most of the time. Like, you're probably in pretty good shape at that point. So they did it the right way. You can throw an all-star team together from the start, and it's like, low percentage. But when you take the pieces you got, you try to improve upon other things, build up from a good foundation like that, that's how you end up with a team like NSA. So congratulations to them. That was the most impressive season that there's been, certainly in gold. And I would probably say overall, just in general in KTP, really, really difficult to go undefeated under any circumstances. But, man, to do it in such convincing fashion, like, oh, wait, yeah, they did it in very convincing fashion. I was going to say with, like, no close matches, but, yeah, I don't think maybe there was against Icy Hot on Railroad 2 during the season, or Rail Yard, there was a close-ish match where Vertex started off, like, fucking like 13-0 or something on his Axis side, getting into Ticket, and then it looked like maybe they were going to be able to end up getting the win in the end. But as always, NSA on defense is just as impressive as their ability to go off and get 4 or 5 kills at a time and cap out. I think that's maybe the most underrated side of the game that team had, was their ability to defend when their backs got pushed up against the wall and they had to hold a last flag or defend a mid-cap as the last flag or whatever the case may be. They were kind of like the gold standard for what it takes to bend and not break in those situations as a team. So they will not be playing this season, obviously, which is both good for the people in gold who want to win gold, but also, I think, bad for DoD as a whole. I think it's nice to have that kind of like a final boss team to try to strive to beat. Certainly for me, that's like the most fun part of competing in anything, is the climb to the mountaintop and trying to get there and surpass that team that is clearly above and beyond everybody else at that point. To me, that's really fun. But things obviously a little bit different this season, which we will now get into. I'm not going to do what I've done in the past where I get ready to recap all the teams individually. I'm just going to get right into predicting. And then hopefully this episode won't be 3 hours long, because it's already 9 o'clock. But let's see here. I'm just going to jump right in to silver. I don't have all the information about some of the players on some of the teams, but most of it. So right off the bat, Loswick versus R11. So just to jump on in with some of these rosters here. So for Loswick, where did they go? There they are. You got Jiraiya, Ryan, Manga, AZ, Superuva, Poccholino, Lucho, Jr., and Leto. I'm not sure what the starting lineup is, but they have multiple players here that we've seen play in KTP over these last few seasons. Certainly Jiraiya. Manga, I believe, also played a little bit, and Ryan. So I don't know a whole lot about what to expect from Loswick. They've got a pretty sizable roster, which is always good as a new team because you never know what's going to happen. I'm sure that there's a couple people out there who could tell me more about this. However, unfortunately for them, they have the tough draw of immediately going up against R11, who has been a powerhouse in any division they're in since KTP has been around. They were originally sleepers. Now they're R11, which is a little bit more of two teams thrown together between heavyweights and sleepers after that season 1. But man, so they have a very nice roster move that they made this season, which was to pick up Bud from the now gone NSA. This is a great, great move for this team. I think this really puts them over the hump even more. They've made it. They made it to the semifinals last season. Obviously lost there to 3H. But making a move like that, picking up a guy like Bud, who he can be an impact player with multiple classes, and he can play multiple playstyles. We saw for T3 and NSA, he was kind of the more passive, defensive heavy, playing with Taylor or with PDX at different times, or even with P12 at times. He can do either or. And I think adding that level of stability and very much veteran presence that Bud brings to the table with a lot of younger guys on this team, the Rafinha, Van Aki, I mean, those two guys are studs, absolute star players. LZL as well is like very, very explosively talented, where he can just go off and kill your whole team in an instant, dropping lots of bombs. Man on the sniper rifle has been ridiculously consistent for season after season. And then Zap's filling in on whatever class he needs to play. Matt on the heavy most of the time. Burn when he gets the chance to come in and third or snipe. He can do either. Lobaton can play anything, primarily a rifle. BLK I've even played against in a few scrims, and he's been very good on the Stasker. And so R11 now, coming into the season, looking, I think, better than ever. I think if you see them with Rafinha and Van Aki, Bud, Mand, LZL, and anybody in that last spot, this team is going to be a team that is the team to beat for everybody. Like, you got to circle that game on your calendar. This week, they got Harrington against a little bit of an unknown quality, right? An unknown quantity in Loswick. I mean, until I see something out of Loswick, so I know kind of where to rate them, I got to go with R11. Jiraiya is a good player, certainly, that I've seen play multiple times over the years. But until I know a little more about what everyone else brings to the table on the team and how long, how well they play together, if they've been together a while and stuff, you just got to go with R11. I'm picking R11 against most teams this season. With that Bud edition, they look very much in that top echelon of a very hectic silver division that I think is going to be just as crazy this season as it was last. So that is what I'm going to go with. R11 on Harrington, you figure like a couple hundred. It could easily be less or more, but just until we get to see Loswick play, I'm just going to assume R11 comes out strong in that first week. Moving on, the next one we got here, we got No-Go versus M1 Average. So No-Go do also have some roster moves made here. They've picked up Ana, which I think is, a really good move. Veteran presence, good player, can play with multiple classes, super great person as well, which is always good to bring into a team under any circumstances. Just somebody who can brighten the room. It makes a difference. People may scoff at that, but you're playing with these 5, 6, however many other people and in Discord with them all the time. Something nice to have when they can lighten the mood and make people smile. Then you also got Trance added here, another guy who's very good rifle. If he can play semi-regularly and be active, he could be somebody that could turn some heads. I see Blue Revolver back on the roster here. I don't know how much Andrew will play, but certainly if Blue Revolver is playing regularly and sniping especially, scary. Stark, another really nice pickup here to be able to heavy. Nogo has kind of been lacking when it comes to who is heavying for them consistently alongside Spoon. I know last season it was like a revolving door next to Greg. It seemed like it was a new second heavy every week. If you got a team of Spoon and Stark consistently playing together, I think that could really be good for No-Go. Or this other pickup here in Tony Compton, also obviously heavied for Icy Hot and Thunder in gold throughout all this time, is originally a rifle, so I'm not sure if he's planning on heavying or rifling here. If he's going to heavy with Spoon, though, that is a scary heavy team as well. And then War Within, I'm guessing coming into snipe, he's been sniping mostly lately, but also, again, a very good heavy. So, if nothing else, flexibility. You got flexibility with these guys now. Which maybe they had too much of last season with how much class switching was going on, like mid-match and stuff. I think even though they have that flexibility, it's something that they should more fall back on rather than rely on. Don't think, well, we can all play multiple classes, so let's do that every game. Rather, get yourself into set classes and then in an emergency deal with having the flexibility to switch on and off. And then on the M1 average side, we got a totally new team here. Alapex, Dustin, so many commas, which, is that Joel Edmonds? I think he was so many cats at one point for sure, so I'm not entirely clear on if that's Joel or not. Three-sided quarter, Red Dog, Meep, which is awesome to see. Meep taking another season in DOD here. He looked like the stud player from NOA last season who was just getting better and better. Really, really good mechanically. I'm actually excited to see him playing again this season. And then Grim, of course, coming back, and Pizza Hut. Another guy who has been playing forever and is very, very capable of going off. I think this team could surprise some people, really. Like, there's a couple players that are getting back into competitive DoD after not playing for a little while, at least not playing regularly. And I think just getting those reps in and stuff, those guys are going to be able to jump up to another level. Obviously, with Moosh, Dustin, he can rifle, he can snipe, he can heavy. I'm not sure what he'll be playing on this roster. I mean, you probably want him to rifle, but I really have no idea what the class situation will be for this team. But whatever class he's playing, he's going to be putting up a lot of kills, as we've already seen many times before. You could see like Quarter Snipe and Alapex and Red Dog heavying, and then like Dustin and, if that's Joel, and Meep on the rifles, and then Grim and Pizza Hut both can fill in as needed. That's just the assumption I'm making, which is completely speculative. I'll be very interested to see how this team continues to form. Anytime you have a completely new team come together, it's always just fun to kind of see as they find their identity and how they mesh together, and what they kind of fall into in their roles and everything. And I think this team has a good makeup from the start. It's just going to be a matter of getting the reps and kind of getting back into the swing of things with the mechanics and everything again. And I think obviously you can look forward to Moosh probably being the main source, top fragging guy for this team. On a map like Harrington, now Nogo, we've seen lose some Harrington games in some pretty alarming ways where like they just kind of threw the game away by not getting on the mid cap. I think that the additions, like especially having Tony on the team now, a guy who's been kind of behind the scenes with Nogo from day one, having that voice of authority and direction on the team will help avoid those kinds of things happening. Just the experience as well. Like just having that addition to a team like this, where there's a lot of skill there and stuff, but those little intricacies of the game seem to kind of be what gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, where they'll lose games that they won in every other way just by making like little mental mistakes. Like you got three guys on mid and two of them get off, and then there's like kind of a little bit of a mad scramble to get the second guy back into mid, and in that time now the nade's breaking mid. Stuff like that. But I think that this no-go team is looking good to get back to the form that they were in Season 1 and Season 2 when they were really competing week in and week out when William was on the team and was just dropping bombs every week. That no-go team, it was in position to potentially beat anybody in silver that season. So I think they're going to be in better shape this season. I think they'll win this game. But I think M1 is going to be fine. I think that they'll be a team that is going to be able to compete with anybody, especially as time goes on. And I don't know how active they're going to be practice-wise. If they're practicing a lot, that again brings it up even more. Even if they're just kind of like playing here and there, like they're good players and very high experience players at high levels of the game as well, which will just make it an automatic higher baseline for the team to begin with. No-go, I like their roster moves. I think the couple of them were low-key beyond what some other teams have done this offseason, but I think they were the right ones for them. I think they'll be able to take this game by about say 2 caps, 2 to 3 in that range. But I expect that M1 is going to be a fun team to watch how they progress as the season goes on. So that'll be a good match, I think, just to kind of measure yourself out right off the bat against a no-go team who was like middle of the pack last season in that big bunch up between, what was it, like 2nd place and 6th place or 7th place, whatever it was, in the division. That they're a good measuring stick for where M1 is going to be at to start the season. And then no-go making the additions that they have to this team, I think will help bump them up to where, if you have this exact addition, both these, well, all 4 of these additions in your bank last season to be able to work with might have helped propel them beyond the spot that they ended up in for the playoffs. So going to be interesting to see how that game plays out for sure. And then this is a good matchup right here. I like this one. I think that's going to be probably the match of the week, so I'll save that one and I'll jump ahead. Goose Patrol versus High Rollers here. So, High Rollers, this is another new team, but with familiar faces. The return of Mike Lacroix here. Gandhi, back. Illusion, leading the way on this team. Head Like a Hole, another Lacroix. G, back again. Dullamus, a face that I haven't seen in a while in competitive DoD, which is always exciting to see guys like this come back. Pipes and Arg, I believe, are source players, so the sky's the limit for them potential-wise. I look forward to seeing them play. And then, of course, Aim Tech. So you got a whole lot of talent to start with here. Even just in recent seasons, you look at Illusion and Aim Tech have both been high-impact players on any team they're on. That is a great foundation for the team, no matter what else there is going on. And then, obviously, experience and skill levels of a Gandhi, of a Nick, of a Dullamus, of a G. Lots of good stuff in this team to be excited about going into the season. And on the Goose Patrol side of things, of course, probably the biggest single pickup of any team in any offseason, getting PDX on your team. The best player in DoD, popping in here for Goose. He's been kind of mentoring them, I know, going back to Season 3, I think it was, when they played in the finals. And now he gets to be a part of that team, which is fun. But you got Nicholson, Hopper, DB, Reptar, Bromley here as well. Another really nice pickup on this team. Crawd, again, this team was, what was their team last season? Shut Up, We're Trying. It's, basically the same team with a couple things swapped in and out. And then Zampolit is another heavy as well. So they have a lot of options on the way they configure their team here. DB's going to be sniping, I would think. Bromley can certainly snipe too, though, obviously. You probably will see Adam on a rifle more likely, I'm guessing it'll be something along the lines of like DB sniping, Nicholson on a rifle, Bromley on a rifle, PDX on a rifle, and then like Crawd and Hopper or Crawd and Zampolit, or, any combination of the numerous people they have that can heavy on this team. You could even see PDX heavy. You could see PDX do whatever the fuck he wants, you let PDX do what he wants to do week in and week out. It's just that simple. So I think this will be an interesting game. I've gotten to see some of High Rollers play a little bit because Illusion streams. So you get to see some of their scrims and stuff. And they look like they're continuing to make strides like day in and day out just from playing. That's very important, playing together with a good chunk of your team, even if it's not all 6. If you can get 3 or 4 players on, every day to play together. That will make a difference. You get accustomed to the play styles of the players around you. You get accustomed to their tendencies. You get your communication down better. Everything makes a difference when it comes to getting reps with your team. And High Rollers is putting in the time for that. And that always pays off. Historically speaking, the teams that play the most are usually the teams that get rewarded for it, with certainly exceptions. But dating all the way back to Season 1, usually the most active teams in both divisions tend to take that leap forward while everybody else sort of stagnates on whatever level they're at. Certainly when you're like a really good team to start, you're not scrimming, you're still going to be up there, but you're not going to be able to move forward at all, and you're going to get passed by other teams. And High Rollers putting in that time. Thing is, Goose Patrol, too, I've certainly gotten to scrim against them a couple times already, so they are putting in the time. I'm not sure how much Brino's scrimming, but he doesn't need to really play, Like, he's going to be just fine. That's the least important part when it comes to them being active. Everyone else getting those reps together, they already have a core foundation of a team that's been playing together for multiple seasons, which is another step up. But then just getting those reps little by little with the other parts that have come in the last season and a half, that's where you see them jump up. They were already a finalist in Season 3. Obviously, that team was a little bit different. It had Debo in place of PDX there. But now you got PDX. You're adding in a Bromley here as well, who is severely underrated and can play with any class and be good. I like that heavy team potentially, whatever combination it ends up being, whether it's a Hopper and a Crawd and a PDX, a Hopper and a PDX. So many options. On a Harrington, so you figure, I don't know, who's going to be sniping for High Roller? I'm guessing it'll be Aim Tech and Mid. That's a fun matchup, I think, Aim Tech versus DB, or will Aim Tech Rifle, I'm not sure. I'm not positive on what classes in general HRG will put out there, besides knowing Illusion will definitely be on a car. I feel like you realistically, depending on who plays, could end up with like an Illusion, a Gandhi, Dullamus rifle team. And then like Nick and G on heavies, or Nick can play multiple classes really. He's been third rifling for the previous season, so you can have him on a third. I know Mike can heavy as well and was doing it, but you got Gandhi, you should probably put him on a rifle. Like, he was always a standout rifle in Invite. I feel like you want Gandhi on a rifle. So, again, this is a team that I will want to see play some matches before I'm going all in on them to start upsetting the status quo in the Silver Division. I'm going to take Goose to come out strong in this PDX debut game, which I just can't wait to see. But I think it'll be closer than you might anticipate. I think High Rollers has a really good base to be able to come and fuck shit up for people all over the Silver Division this season, and especially with their activity level, that's going to be the big X factor. But I'm going to take Goose to win by like 75-80. And yeah, I think that'll be another one of the really good matches this week in Silver. Then you got Late Arrivals versus 3H here. So for Late Arrivals, this was obviously a team that came together at the very end of the sign-up period, whatever you want to call it. Bullet Fodder and Casino right off the bat, good start. Prawn Star, if it's the Prawn Star that I know from previous lifetimes in DoD, somebody who's been around forever. Azilla, great role player on teams. We've seen both out of him and Nightmares. Secretly, another guy who was very underrated in the seasons he's played in 1.3. Giacomo, wow, I didn't even realize Giacomo and Crafty were on this team. That's pretty awesome. I haven't seen those names in ages. Guys who have played forever. Bo as well, same thing. Good to see him back. And Insight, I'm not positive who Insight is, but that's a team with a whole lot of DoD experience on it. And Bullet's gonna ingrain in them what it takes to win. This is a team that is another one that very well could end up surprising people, just depending on how much activity they're able to get, who's able to play week in and week out. Like, you certainly want to have Casino and Seek really there as much as possible. Those are the guys that are likely to be dropping the bombs, but I'm going to be interested to see who shows up for them all the time and what classes they're playing. That's another very interesting new team in the division. And then, of course, with 3H, the returning champs here, you got Jane, Warchild, Big Bird, Nomus, Piff, Defrag, Modgers, The Bear, Steve, and Ian. I believe the starting roster looks like Warchild, Nomis, Piff, Defrag, the Bear, and Steve. I'm assuming it'll be like a Piff and Defrag heavying, Steve, the Bear, and Warchild on the rifles, and Nomis on the sniper. 3H trying to defend their title. It's not something you get to see very often in Silver. It's certainly a weird situation. Losing, hypothetically here, I mean, Moders is on the roster, but from what I understand is not really able to be around at all. Not having him or CK, you lose your two best players. One's a heavy, one's a rifle. It's a little tough, but they are certainly still a stacked team here. Johnny was great all last season. Austin just continued to get better. I know he had some computer internet problems that he was able to take care of, some lag and FPS spiking, that by the time the end of the playoffs came around, he was looking like vintage Austin there. Piff, maybe the most underrated heavy in DoD right now, has been great. Defrag, maybe the most underrated player in DoD all around, certainly in drafts when the guy's going in the last round, which still I don't understand how that's possible. The Bear getting the chance to start this season, somebody who has been really, really good every season that he's played in KTP. Is he going to rifle? Is he going to third? You certainly have some flexibility between the guys that they all have on the rifles there with Steve, the Bear, Warchild, and Nomis. All can snipe, and all can rifle, and all can third. Maybe it'll be a map-to-map thing with them. I don't know. And then Ian there, he's not able to be super active, and I know his computer is pretty bad, so I imagine if he played, he'd be playing in sniping, because I don't think he can do too much else with that computer. I don't know. Not clear what the deal is there, but certainly a tough draw for late arrivals in their first game. In the competitive KTP scene here, a map like Harrington, so 3H thrived on Harrington with CK, certainly, because Corey is very much like that straightforward, I'm nading everybody, I'm killing everybody, I'm running through mid, I'm getting to your spawn, I'm getting your second flag kind of player. And that can be tough to deal with for anybody. But in particular, when he's on and things are going well for him, it's really hard to deal with a guy who plays like that, because it's the last thing you really expect from anybody. Not a lot of people do that, and are willing to keep doing it, no matter what their score is, till they break through and start to get the frags that they expect. So I think missing that makes it a little bit of a different situation here for 3H. It's still their favorite in this this matchup for sure. I think they'll still win. It's just going to be, I think, a different look to 3H. In what I'm thinking, at least, with Defrag moving to the heavy. So, I mean, Defrag on the third rifle is really, really good at doing all those, low-key things that you need a support player like a third rifle to do. So now he'll be able to do that on the heavy. He'll have one less nade to do it and be on different routes and everything. It'll be interesting to see the adjustment there and how the team sort of flows together without kind of like the big two leaders that were there for all last season, kind of always on top of the scoreboard. Certainly Matt was the leader of the team in general as well. CK, obviously the most active player in DoD, always setting up scrims. So it'll be a little bit of a hill to climb for 3H to be able to defend that title, but certainly well within reach for them. They got a lot of guys who bring the intangibles to the table that you need to be a successful team. I think they'll take this game by, about a 110, 120 in that area. Maybe more depending on who plays for both teams here. But yeah, taking 3H there, going to be interesting to see if they can defend a silver title. There's been no repeat silver champions so far. So yeah, I mean, I think really the only team that had a chance to technically do it was Clinic, because they played and won Season 1, and then they were in silver again in Season 3. So I think there hasn't even really been opportunities to do it outside of that one time. So we'll see if they can. And then to backtrack to what I'm declaring the match of the week here, for obvious reasons, Saab versus Spicy Butthole. This is going to be a barn burner of a match. It always is. Both these teams seem to play nothing but exciting matches, but Spicy Butthole, actually really both teams, bringing out the same rosters they had last season. For Spicy, it's Kevin, Laura, Ryan, Stamp, Life, Dillard, Lynx, Hey Hi. For Saab, it's Scotty, Manor, Nightmare, Yanni, Toki, King Yo, Caleb, no changes to either team there. Consistency is key when it comes to this game. Keeping your core team together, getting more and more time together is what keeps bumping you up. Like that's just the way it is and has always been. Even looking at a team like NSA that was legendarily dominant, it's not like they were this new team. Like they still had that core, 5 players, 4 players, whatever it was, that they then built up from and improved upon. And those core players are the guys that are doing the heavy lifting, these two teams are both in very good position to win silver this season. A map like Harrington is going to be, I think, an interesting one for these guys to face each other on, honestly. I think, I know last season I remember Saab played no-go, and it was that game where Saab had multiple people lag out at the same time, and they still almost won in that game when all was said and done. Spicy, we've seen play Harrington numerous times. Dillard is excellent on Harrington going middle. Matt going any route. I've seen him play literally every route rifling on Harrington and been good at it. They have the team that I think, outside of Thunder has played together the longest now, realistically. Because some form of that team has basically been together since Season 2. And I think part of it has been together even since Season 1. And I think it is Season 2. So, 3 seasons together. And multiple finals appearances in that time. Is it 3 straight finals appearances, I think? So there's no reason to suspect they won't find a way back into the finals for a 4th. That team is built to win. They have stuck to the script and continued to be active and continued to get better and build up more chemistry and just improve season in and season out, which I love to see in DoD because that really is kind of like what it's about when it comes down to competitive team play. And the core of Saab, for the most part, has been together all throughout KTP as well. In one form or another across a few different teams, they have been together like typical. It's basically like typical, with a couple new pieces thrown in there. Like Caleb wasn't on typical and Yanni wasn't on typical, but everybody else was. So these guys have all played together just as long, and that's a big reason why they are able to win the games that they win. Man, it's a fucking tough call. I think, once again, the Stealth Nightmare matchup is a big, big crux in this game. Last time that they matched up, Kevin really looked great. I think he had maybe the best individual performance, sniper versus sniper against Nightmare, that I've seen. He looked really outstanding in that series against them. I've never put up a performance individually against Nightmare the way that Kevin did in those games. So that certainly bodes well for Spice to be able to take this game. I'll be curious to see how the classes work out and everything for Saab, who's going where. I mean, not classes, the routes, and what the 6 will be, who will be able to show up. I know you never know who might not be able to play and everything, so it'll be interesting to see that. I gotta go with Spicy here. They were this close to being the Silver Champs last season. They are much like numerous other teams in Silver, a team that can very much compete with Gold teams. If they're not in your favorite 2 or 3 teams to make it to the finals again this season, you're not paying attention. I think that Spicy will take this game in a very close game because these two teams do the dramatics every time they're out there playing. I think that all 3 routes are going to be closely contested, and it's just going to be a matter of who can win that game of inches when all is said and done. I think Spicy will do it. I'm saying less than 35 points they'll win this one by. It could just, this is one of those coin flip scenarios that you see in gambling and stuff. Either team could win this. I'm going with Spicy because, they just haven't stopped winning for 3 seasons. But Saab has everything it takes to be able to go and upset everything and be in that final spot this season because they were just as close to getting there last season. But yeah, I'm saying Spicy for this game by less than 40 points. I think that the heavy matchup might be what can turn things in either direction here. Stamp and Twist have played really, really well together. Stamp keeps getting better and dropping more kills. I know that he's got a couple maps where he seems to really excel, but that's the kind of thing that you see at the start of when somebody then is doing that on every map. I guess I haven't pressed my mouse in so long that this monitor just fell asleep. Whoops. Goes to show how much I can talk about fucking DOD. But, the heavies for Saab can do it just the same. So, yeah, I think that'll be the crux matchup. I think that, because, that's what you end up defending half the time anyways on either side is that bridge or that mountain house. And the team that can manage to pull an NSA and defend that cap really well and turn it into an offensive advantage for them, I think will be the one that gets that one extra cap that wins this game. So that's my match of the week in silver. That sums up silver once and for all. Moving on to gold now. So I will start. Oh, wow. So there's actually not as much to even talk about here, and now I'm just spoiling what I'm going to talk about next week. But as you can see there, I'm spoiling it. Anybody who's fucking watching a Dodcast knows about this already. You can see that there. I'm not going to talk about it yet because I don't want to start fucking myself over for future episodes and all that. But we've got our match, which I'll just start off with, and then we've got Clinic versus Over. The match of the week definitely already happened. I casted it. It was fucking nuts. It's up on my YouTube. It's probably still up on my Twitch as well. If you haven't got to see that yet, YouTube and Twitch both are Corey Marco. So check that shit out for sure, because that was a very, very fun Harrington match to watch. Just nonstop craziness. But, alright, start off with Thunder versus Chilled. Okay, so for Thunder, it's pretty much the same team, right? I don't think we really changed anything. Oh, we got J-Rod back, which is obviously a great addition. J-Rod on a third rifle is a major X-Factor player. You got Solid there, John Gale, Ace, yeah. G-Code, Ryan Emo, Dorito, Jules, me, and Tox. And then on the Chilled side, another one of the new teams that has come in, along with Bandits, into the gold landscape. Chi, Sick, Leo, PB, Hildy, Insane, and Raven. It's a really nice looking team right there. Not positive how their lineup shakes out. Just, kind of guessing here. You'd figure Chi will be on a heavy. They have quite a few rifles. All right, so Hildy will definitely snipe. I gotta assume that Leo's gonna rifle. I would assume that PB is gonna rifle. I would assume that Sick is going to rifle, but then is Insane going to play? Insane's probably got a rifle. The only thing I can say for sure is that Chi probably heavies, right? And I know William has been heavying in a lot of the scrims I've played against him, certainly, so I'm guessing that William is gearing up for a season heavying with Chi. That's just the assumption that I'm going to make right now, that it'll be out of these, because they only have 7 players here, so there's only so many configurations you can have. I'm guessing it'll be Leo, PB, and then either Insane or Raven on the other rifle, Hildy on the sniper, Chi and William on the heavies, but Justin can certainly heavy as well. I don't think Ben would heavy, Raven can heavy, so I'm assuming just based on how much I've seen William heavy whenever I've come across him in the game in the last few months, that he's probably getting ready to heavy this season. And yeah, Thunder, it'll be the same, whatever, 6, Tox, me, Jules, Dorito, Ryan, and J-Rod, or Grant, or Ace, or John. You never know who's going to not show up. But on Harrington, historically, we're kind of cursed on Harrington. Weird shit happens all the time in Harrington games for us. Dealing with a Leo, Leo is really, really good at Harrington, and just being a nuisance and creating space in and around middle, getting on ladder, both starting on ladder as an Axis, getting up ladder as an ally, getting up white steps, really tough to deal with. Same for Ben as a sniper on Harrington, very, very tough to deal with. Justin, he can go any route. They could do some very interesting shit with their rifles because they're both so flexible on route running. You don't just have to send them to the easiest car routes or the easiest Garand routes and then they'll get their kills. They're able to go anywhere. You could see one of them Garand mountain. You could see them do a 1 car mountain, 1 car mid, and then send someone solo long. Certainly an Insane Ben can solo long. That would make a lot of sense. And then if it's Chi and William on mountain, Chi and William against Jules and Ryan, or Jules and Grant, or Ryan and Grant, whatever it may be. And then I guess I'd be sniping with with Tox or Dorito in middle against Ben and Leo or Paintball. Obviously, you can have 3 people going middle in this day and age. The middle battle is going to be, I think, the key here. Leo coming from NSA, a team that was very good on Harrington, and he was a key part of that. I think he can bring a lot to the way that they play Harrington and kind of adjust on the fly and maneuver with each other and around the map. That makes them, I think, even more scary on this map in particular right now. Certainly for us as a team that doesn't love Harrington in general. I think this will be a tight game and could go either way at this point. I don't know how much they've been playing. I'm sure individually at least a few of them have been able to play in scrims and 12-mans and ring and stuff, but I just haven't been in enough 12-mans or anything like that to know for sure. But yeah, I think this will just be a fun game to watch, and hopefully someone will cast it, whether it's Alapex or if anyone else wants to do it. I think it'll be a movie clip intensive match when you got guys like PB and Hildy and William and Leo. These are guys that go off for 4+ K streaks constantly. And then obviously the Toxinator, the Jules, the Dorito. I'll hit a no-scope every once in a while. If Ryan's on his shit, he can go off. J-Rod can run straight through the whole map and do a ring around the rosy. I think it'll be a fun game for someone to cast, and I think it'll be a close game either direction. But we're seeing upsets right now, so if you're thinking you know what's going to happen in this game, I'd like to point you back to that one time when all week all anyone was saying was poor Clinic has to play Thunder on Anzio, yada yada yada. I had my Dodcast partner sitting in the Dodcast trying to act like it was a foregone conclusion while I sat here going, I have a bad feeling about this, and look what happened. So anybody who thinks they know for sure someone's going to win something, never forget that matchup. So I got a bad feeling about this one. Let me just put it that way. I got a bad feeling about it. Okay, then moving on to the last prediction that I got to do here, Clinic versus Over. So we do have some changes going on here within these teams. Where did we go? There we go. And then where was... There it is. Okay, so on the Clinic side of things, generally the same team. Consistency is key with them. Playing together forever, as stable a team and roster as you can find in DoD right now. Tom, Sam, Suave, Carp, Vic, Allen, Insom, it's a Mario's on there. Whatever 6 they put out there are going to be able to compete up against anyone. And in any configuration of that roster, obviously you'll see Vic is going to heavy, Suave is going to rifle, Carp is going to snipe, Sam is going to be on some sort of a rifle. If Allen plays, he'll probably heavy. Tom can heavy or snipe or third or car. If Insom plays, he's probably rifling. You never know which 6 will come out there, but you'll have fun watching them with this team. They're just all so good. It's the kind of team that you'll always enjoy watching. They will keep any game close against anyone, or they will beat them, much like they did to Thunder's asses on Anzio. Not even a close game, mind you. They shit down our throats. So, and then for Over, Over has a couple of new additions here. SZ is back, a guy who I certainly, as a fan of European DoD for a long time, always loved watching SC play. If he's active, he can be a surprise top-of-the-line heavy easily. Very explosive, multi-fragging type guy. Obviously, he was back a couple seasons ago for a bit. And then Devin, a huge pickup for anybody. Devin, one of the most skilled players in the game. A guy who you just know is going to find a way to get his, always. He will get his 60 frags or be right around there at all times. Can play absolutely any class and do it. He's the kind of player that when you have him and there's a map that he's feeling like a car bar on, you do it because he can make it count. Oh, this cat. Don't go pressing the keyboard, buddy. Come on now. So over on Harrington, this is a map that I didn't even say, I didn't go through the roster. Kum, Mata, Saka, Caffrey, Till, and then 50 as well, coming back from last season. Every time that Travis played last season, he made a difference for this team. He is so good when he gets into the game, man. It's just crazy. I don't know what exactly their lineup will pan out to be. Like, are they going to have Devin heavy? They're going to have him rifle. Saka and Kum have generally been the rifle tandem on the cars. So realistically, you could see like Kum Saka 50. And then, Till can snipe, he can heavy, he can rifle. Depends on what you want to do with that. Mata obviously can do any of the above. Primarily snipes. I guess it depends on who the active main six are going to be on where the classes end up. Because this is a team that any of these guys can snipe. Caffrey or any of these guys can play any of these classes realistically. Caffrey will likely be heavying at all times because he's one of those few heavies. In this day and age, there's just not a lot of game-breaking heavies left, and Caffrey's one of them. Devin is certainly one of them as well, and SC could be. So, it's a position of strength for them now. They've got multiple snipers that are capable of doing the same now as well, with Mata and Till, and then even Devin we've seen in KTP be a dominant sniper. They've got a very interesting team. I like these moves. I think just finding the right combination of their six could make them a team capable of beating anyone. They have a lot of talent on this team. And, again, the core has played together forever. They keep bringing in more good players that bring new wrinkles to the lineup. I think just finding that right combo of six is going to be what puts them over once and for all. So, when it comes down to this matchup on Harrington, I know Carp, excellent at Harrington. I know Insom, great at Harrington. Vic, great at Harrington. Sam, when he's played with me, I've seen him be great on Harrington too. I don't know if he loves Harrington though. Scott as well. They're all good. Over, man, they are tough to play against on this map. I know they will really throw bodies at you in mid. Saka can pop up absolutely fucking anywhere. I'd be very interested to know what the exact six is going to be for each team ahead of making a fucking prediction, but I don't have that information. I'm going to go with over by 45 right now. Just looking at a little bit of a newly revitalized lineup here, potentially adding in a big-time impact player like Devin, another potential big-time impact player like SZ. Whether or not he's going to actually be active, I don't know. But we've gotten to play against over a little bit too, and they look good. I think this Devin edition in particular could really help bump them up again here. Again, it's kind of the same thing as the way that T3 did it, where they're adding, a player or two here as each season goes on. I think eventually they're going to get to the point where you see them playing in the finals at the end of the season and really changing the status quo in the gold division. I like the way they look heading into this season. Just a matter of them finding the right combination of players and what classes they play in the routes and everything. If they can do that, man, they can beat anybody. That's a lot of talent and DOD IQ on one team. Really, really like that Devin pickup. That was one of the things when you saw it, it was kind of like, ooh, that makes a lot of sense for them. Okay. On the clinic side of things, though, they always will have the X factor of their team play and their chemistry together for all this time that they've played together. That is enough to overtake literally anybody. If beating Thunder on Anzio didn't prove that enough, I don't know what will. They're capable. They looked great in the playoffs last season as well. They were about to pull off an upset on Thunder. They looked incredible in that game. Just came out flying, everybody doing everything right. All their players are capable of going off and top fragging. Suave, everybody knows how mechanically gifted Suave is. When he's feeling himself, he's the kind of guy that can just dry peek everybody and rip their faces off. Carpenter will forever be, in my opinion, the most underappreciated sniper in DoD because he belongs right up there in that top 3 sniper conversation. The guy has been just balls out consistent since KTP has started, season in and season out. And again, Sam, you can't make an argument against it. Best third rifle in the game. He's a guy who has taken on the third rifle class and made it into an art form. And on their heavies, whoever their second heavy ends up being, they've had a good anchor in Vic, who, on every map is able to do the job of a heavy. Like he's in the places, playing good fundamental DoD and getting his 30 kills and making it matter for his team. He's not just frag whoring and he's not just hiding. He's doing his job in a way that is kind of lost, I think, in the heavy class overall. Outside of like the big ones, I think that there's just so many more rifles and snipers now that the heavy position is generally thin. And when you see the guys who are career-long heavies and good at it, it's always very noticeable above, like, if I heavy. Like, I can heavy and get kills, but I'm not a heavy. Like, positional play and the general DoD IQ in the moment of things happening, the guys who have been heavying forever, you can see that difference in the seconds that it takes to really register what to do and what not to do. So, easily Clinic can win this game. You could see the wrong roster out there for either team due to someone not being able to show up, but I think it'll be another one very, very close game here. And, man, if Clinic can come out and get a win to start the season against a very tough-looking over team now, that would be really, really nice to see, I don't know how active they are. That's the thing, is with any team now in DoD, you don't know how active they are. Season 1, everybody was playing. Now it's kind of like who plays, who's just kind of showing up for matches. I don't know. But, I'm sure I'll get to cast that one way or another. It'll probably be, I think it has to be an afternoon game since over is predominantly European. So, yeah, that does it. There is the one game that I'll get to next week just to touch on those teams. So, obviously you already saw the result, but I'm not going to recap it. So, first of all, Gray Hair Mafia, there's plenty of talk around this team heading into this season. For all intents and purposes, I don't think that what they were saying was necessarily reflective of like a logical thing. I think that it was more of a feeling to them. But anybody who's been paying attention to the game and looks at this team list is going to look at it and go, yeah, that's a team that belongs in gold. They're all such good players, Like, this is just a team of crazy, crazy talent here. Sean, the number 1 rated player in silver last season, obviously also the number 1 rated rifle. Jesse has been at the top of the game in gold player, every season a gold. 9 has played both gold and silver. Pibian, top sniper in silver last season. Kellen, one of the top, I think, 3 heavies in silver last season, and just historically speaking, one of the most skilled players in DoD North America that there ever was. Same goes for ProStar as well. In both instances, I believe he was the number 1 rated heavy last season, and historically speaking, one of the best heavies in North America always. And then the players who aren't starting here, you obviously add Brandon. I don't know that he's going to be playing much. Hip, a guy who in multiple seasons past been a great, great role player in whatever position he has to play. And then Corey Price, who's just got that dog in him, man. When you get Corey Price in the game, he's going to put up his kills. He's going to get a couple movie clips. Very, very good every time he gets in there. I know he's not really been able to be as active with this team or Insomnia, but having that option is really nice. This is a team that I think will be able to upset absolutely anyone this season. Like, they are just a very, very good team. I like the way that they mesh together. I like the roles that they all take up. Just the couple little changes from what was Insomnia last season to what is this team now, I think really steps that team up a lot. It brings some consistency as well as like the understanding of what the pace of play and tendencies are in Gold Division DoD right now, because it is a little bit different compared to Silver. However, I don't necessarily even think that's super relevant, because go watch that game. Go watch that game of Gray Hair Mafia versus Bandits. Like, those different play styles can clash and make for interesting pluses and minuses on both sides. But a Riv and ProStar heavy team doesn't get much better than that. And as they're playing more and more in gold, they're just going to keep getting better and better, back to the point of when they were, in the prime time days of DoD. Being able to move 9 onto a third rifle scenario, or like move them around depending on the map, because certainly Riv can rifle as well. Somebody who was car barring in the prime of DoD, he can definitely pick up a rifle when necessary. Jesse can also heavy and rifle and third. I really like the makeup of this team, and Pibian, to me, obviously was a great sniper last season, but it's not just that he was a great sniper, it's his play style as a sniper. He's more of an offensive sniper. And if you don't realize that there is like differences to this, that there's offensive snipers and there's passive defensive snipers, just watch a little bit more closely when you're watching DoD. That offensive style of sniping, I think, makes a big difference in this lineup when it comes to the meshing of all the different play styles you have between those 6 guys. I think the makeup of this team is really, really excellent. Just getting down deep and dirty into analyzing what this team brings to the table, I think they are a scary team to have to deal with for anybody in gold, period. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the whole Gray Hair Mafia thing. And then on the other side, the last team, I think, the team that would be, besides Thunder, most people's favorites heading into the season, Bandits. You got Taylor, you got CK, you got Milo, Gall, Colin, Arachnid, Justin, Element, and Kaboom. That's a stacked-ass roster. Obviously, not everyone's super active on that team. One of the key players, I think, all around here is Justin. He can play any class. He just sniped in their opening game of the season. Was a dog, man. He was just all up everybody's ass, but might be even more valuable when he's on a heavy or a rifle. Obviously, just the rifles that you look at in this team with CK, Andrew, Colin, potentially Justin, and Alex. Like, he was rifling in that game too. Like, hypothetically, had 2 backups playing, But guys, Element has been in that top echelon of the gold division every season too. He is ridiculous. This is a really, really good lineup. Just the base foundation of a heavy duo of Taylor and Milo. As I've said, like, just in general, there's not as many heavies, period, let alone like game-breaking heavies in DoD anymore, and these are 2 of them right here. Not only that, they've been playing together as a heavy team forever. So that base right there is as good as you can possibly ask for. And then when you look at the potential rifles that you can throw, and the thing is that Taylor can fucking rifle just as well as he can heavy too, so if there's a situation where there's like a map he doesn't love heavying, or they're missing someone, they need him to rifle, and you could have to throw Justin on the heavy, or you bring in Chris, who is another top heavy all throughout his career. I know he doesn't really play DoD anymore, but he still looked good in that game on whatever day that was, without playing any DoD, because he's just that good to begin with. And then all the potential flexibility on classes. The only guy who I haven't really got to see play multiple classes is Arachnid, who's predominantly a sniper. But again, a really, really good sniper, and I think his play style really meshes with the way the rest of the team plays too, because he got a lot of aggression on this team, and Arachnid is much more lockdown. He's a lockdown sniper. Like, he's not just going to run forward and stupidly throw his life away like I would. And he's very tough to kill because of it. That's the thing. It's a risk and reward thing. Like, certainly being more of a lockdown, hold on to a route, and make sure your team is able to keep accruing points and work for cap-out sniper, the predictability factor comes into play, but you're also less likely to be dying 30 times a game like I would be. And on top of that, you're just more likely to be there to get the most important kills, the ones on the double caps. And I think that that's key when you got a team that's got guys like CK, who's going to be balls to the wall aggressive. Milo, super fucking aggressive. Justin, super aggressive. Element, super aggressive. Andrew, super aggressive. Lots of like aggression first players on this team. So I think that the guys who are a little bit more of a like happy medium there, like Arachnid and Colin and Taylor, are going to be what is able to balance it out for all that aggression. And having that measured aggression and then some added stability to it is what can make a team go from a really good team on paper to a fucking great team. So I very much look forward to seeing like a starting 6 team and how that looks for Bandits. With a team that's that stacked, there's not really like a starting 6 necessarily, because like, who, what if you gotta not have like CK there, and instead you get Element in, or Justin, or Kaboom. Like, there's no losing when you're missing a player with this team. So that alone is always exciting to see on the team list. But in particular, I just want to see what their starting six looks like, and see them out there with guns a-blazing. You got the best nader in DoD and team owner, and you've got CK who wants that title on the same team. There should be a lot of nade kills coming from these guys in the next 8 weeks, 7 weeks, whatever it is that the season goes on. Very, very cool team on paper, and another team who I think you got to expect to be there come those last 2 weeks of the season, for obvious reasons. Like, that's a whole lot of obscene DoD skill and intelligence on one team. I really like the makeup of it. If they can scrim together at all, I think that would ice it for them being able to absolutely take out anybody this season. But again, it's DoD. You never know what might happen. Obviously, week 1, a little bit of a weird situation. We'll see what happens in week 2 for both those teams. I'll be excited to find out just how long did this episode fucking go for. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad. I didn't do too bad. I mean, I didn't have to recap. I only recapped 2 matches, and I didn't even really recap them. I just kind of read the scores and said the 3 top fraggers for each team. So I'm going to call it there, but one final reminder for everybody. First of all, don't forget, because War Within this season, I believe, is taking it upon himself to do all the frags of the week. So remember to submit to War Within anything that you get for frags of the week in and week out. Because I think he is trying to, even if he's not making all of them himself, I do believe he's trying to at least organize it so that we do get frags of the week every single week for a season, which would be pretty awesome. And then I know there's been talk of Mutiny and stuff. If you got clips to submit for Mutiny, I think Steve made a post somewhere about that as well, just in case anybody didn't see that one, and might have some crazy shit. I know it's supposed to be league matches. Draft stuff is supposed to be left out for the time being, and if for some reason down the road there's a shortage of clips, I think then draft clips are meant to be brought in. So league-based matches are these submissions being sought after, from what I understand. And yeah, everybody have a fun season. I think it's going to be another barn burner. Certainly Silver looks like it's going to be fucking 7 teams battling for one spot, like always. And I think things are going to be more interesting in Gold this season, with no NSA. I'm bummed that there's no NSA, because I really wanted to have one more showdown between those 2 teams where we both go balls out and try to go see each other in the finals and have a series against each other. But I understand why they're not playing together and everything now. And now there's a couple more new teams that we get to talk about and analyze week in and week out on the Dodcast and on Shoutcast. So that's more fun for me, I guess, in that regard. I think both divisions are looking very, very interesting, and we're going to see who's able to come out and establish themselves and then ride that train all the way through to the station we call a best-of-3 final. Yeah, I don't know. I was going to say make another announcement, but I'm not going to do that just because I'm not so sure how sure it is yet, so I'll leave that for the future. I'll leave it for now. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. KTP, peace out. Watch the cast on Sunday. Somebody please cast the Thunder game, because I think it'll be a good one, honestly. Love you guys. Peace.